Hello, welcome to another video. And in today's video, right, I'm kind of gonna go over a topic that, if I were to answer this, right, 10 out of 10 times, I think I would get this wrong, right? And that is, what does it mean to belong, right? Now, you might be saying, like, oh, that's so sad, you don't belong, right? That's not what I'm saying, right? I'm saying that the reason why pretty much every time I'd get this answer wrong is because I think that belonging varies, right? And it varies a lot from person to person, right? So my opinion on, what it means to belong is extremely different from what someone else's opinion on what it means to belong, right? And so belonging could just mean to someone, you know, like fitting in, right? So like you're just there, right? You're not really interacting much. You're just there. You know what I mean? And to some, it might mean like being friends with everyone that is in the room or that is there, right? And so I think that, no matter what I say, right, to you, it's just not going to sound right, right? So I feel like in today's video, instead of going over and backing up my opinion on what it means to belong, I think I'm just going to go over the general consensus and different ways to look at belonging, right? Because when I do these videos, right, I usually just ask some of my friends, like, hey, for example, like, hey Gerald, what does it mean to belong, right? Like do you feel like you belong, right? And they'll give me some answer, right? And they'll be kind of like weirded out by why I'm asking them this, but it's for a valid question, right? Because I'm not going to tell them that I have a YouTube channel, of course, right? Because that's a little weird, because then I wouldn't feel like I belong, right? No, just kidding. So I just wanted to use that, but you get the point, right? I'm basically, trying to figure out, right, what people view like on their lives, right? And so I asked someone, have you ever felt like you belonged somewhere, right? And they said no. And so, instead of feeling sorry for them, because I think that, you shouldn't really feel sorry for people if they don't feel like they belong, right? I think that instead, what you should feel is, more so of not a feeling of like sorriness, but more like you should feel more inclusive, right? Because if they feel like they don't belong, it's probably something that's either going on, right? That like, they just don't feel like anything, right? Or like, let's just say they're getting excluded from everything, right? Or, they're not getting excluded and they just think that, like fitting in or belonging in the friend group is a lot more than what's already happening to them, right? If that makes any sense, of course. I'm not quite sure if that made any sense, because it really did in my head. And I think that you could ask one of your friends, right? Just ask them, right? It's not going to be weird, right? Unless you want to make it weird, right? Just ask them, hey, have you ever felt like you belonged someplace, right? And maybe they'll say yes, maybe they'll say no, right? You never really know, right? I personally, am not really the right one to answer this question at the moment, because I'm talking about it, right? And so I think that, if you ask me, that, I don't know, right? At least right now I wouldn't know, but probably later I would. Anyways, the point is, right, is that belonging is so different between so many people, right? And so many people, this is more of an opinionated topic, right? And not so of a factual topic. Like, for example, in my other topics, right, when I'm talking about other things, right, I'm talking more in the general consensus, right? But in this, it's kind of more specific, but, oh, you've got to be kidding me. But I kind of can't be specific to you, right? Because I don't know what your ideologies of belonging is, right? And so with that, I'm just going to get straight into this video. Also, if any of you guys who actually genuinely watch my videos, right, and I know who you guys are, right, please let me know. Do you guys want me to make content, right, every week? But, okay, instead of doing these daily videos, right, I do content every week, but those videos are, very nicely and neatly edited. I have everything figured out. Like, I have like somewhat of a script planned, and it's not just on the fly videos like this daily. please let me know, right? Because these videos I spend genuinely no time, and so yeah, I just want to know if you guys would like that better. And this is actually really bad, but yeah. Anyways, with that being said, right? Let me know in the comments if you want weekly videos or you want me to keep the daily videos. So, belonging, right? I think that, like I was saying, it definitely differs, right? But some ways that people think that they belong, right, is in friend groups, right? And that's a really big one, right? I feel like that's the one where if you say, do you belong, they'll be like, no, because my friends, or blah blah blah, something with the friends, right? They usually like either leave them out, or if they feel like they belong, it's because they have amazing friends, right? And yeah, I think that's true, right? But you're not only belong, like, you have to realize belonging is everywhere, right? It's not only in your friend group, it's literally everywhere. It's in a classroom, it's, oh wow, that's very kind of them. It's in a classroom, it's in, like, at work, it's at home, right? Do you feel like you belong with your family, right? I mean, that's a really big topic that I'm not going to get into right now because, yeah. But you get the point, right? Belonging is, you belong anywhere, right? Or you could belong anywhere, and you could not belong anywhere, right? That completely depends on the person. And, some people say, how, oh, these guys belong at parties, right? And some people don't, right? And that's very opinionated, right? I'm not going to say anything too much on that. But, the moral is that belonging is everywhere, right? And it's really different everywhere, right? And so I think that's why when people say, oh, I feel like I belong, right? It's kind of like, I kind of don't like that, right? Because it's such a vast thing that if you were to say that, oh, you belong, right, I wouldn't really understand what you mean, right? Because to one person, right, it may seem so clear, right? And it may seem like, A is A, B is B, right? But to the other person, right, they're on a whole different planet, right? They're thinking like A is 1, B is 54, like they're completely confused, right? Because they just don't understand what you're talking about, right? And they might never understand, right? I think that's the key part about this, is that it doesn't come naturally to everyone, right? And unlike some things, right, that at least someone should experience, at least once in their lifetime. I think that you should experience this, that feeling of belonging, but I feel as though some people don't, right? And that may sound a little weird, right? Because, shouldn't everyone feel like they belong, right? Yes, I think that statement is definitely true, but everyone should, but everyone doesn't, right? And I feel like that's a really big thing. And so, I'm not gonna make this video too long because I really ran out of ideas. So I just kind of thought of the first thing I could think of, and it was belonging, right? And so maybe that idea belonged in my head all from the start. I knew it. No, I'm just kidding though. But yeah, no, for real. Like, if you guys are actually watching this video, like right now, and I know that some people genuinely, enjoy these, at least I like to think you guys do, right? Please let me know if you guys want longer form content every, week, right? With midterms coming up, it's really hard to, think of a topic and like kind of build a video off that, because basically, right, what I do is in school, right? Because like I said, I go to school, right, like 500 times. But yeah, no, in school, right, I'm mainly thinking about, a video topic, right? Because what else is there to do, right? But now I have midterms coming up, right? And so I need to really hunker down on these midterms. I need to like actually do decent enough, right? And so with that, it's kind of getting hard for me to think of and to come up with original ideas, right? So this was the best idea I got, right? And I came up with this 5 minutes ago because I couldn't think of one in school. So yeah, with that being said, I think this video is not really mainly about belonging. This is mainly a video about, do you guys want longer form content in terms of 1 week content, but it's like the best content I could possibly make? Or do you guys want me to continue uploading every single day and just doing this, right? I don't care. But I definitely think that the weekly content would look pretty cool. I'm just throwing it out there. And it would save me a lot of stress and time, because then I wouldn't have to constantly upload a video every day. And whatever it is, right, whatever you guys want, please let me know, because I will not change it for a little bit. Like, if you guys want weekly, I'm probably going to stick with that for at least 4 videos, because the YouTube algorithm will genuinely cook me if, if I change, like, mysteriously out of nowhere, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do have some plans on videos for the week-long content, if you guys want to see that. But I'm gonna stop yapping, and yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. And yeah, that's it for me. So bye.